Yeah, yeah, yeah. Show me some. Show me some. Show me some.
Bum. Good
Welcome.
day, Madam.
Good day, sir.
Miranda, you pulled some trickery the other day on me, and I don't know how much I appreciated that. Like, I'm digging the glasses today, and you know what? Like, I always focus on these damn glasses, and you weren't wearing your glasses, but it was like you weren't wearing your headset, and then you talked about your headset, and you kind of threw me off there with the glasses. So I'm liking the gold today. Is that gold or is that silver-ish or silver-esque or
It's cool. You're doing good.
All right.
Absolutely.
Looking good.
I'm fascinated. I don't think she has worn the same pair of glasses any one of these podcasts. So consider me and paint me impressed. Okay, Miranda?
I have like 50 pairs or so we got a lot of episodes to see them all.
Oh my goodness. So talk about excitement today, Miranda. Another guest, which is so exciting for us. Dude has just been an absolute beast in the insurance space. I heard a number of over $24 million in annual premium volume, which is just stellar, Miranda. And if I'm not mistaken, I heard he had 13 clients, and that like personally made him over $400,000 in income off of those 13 clients. And I believe he had netted over $700,000 in his very first year in insurance. So like, I didn't even make that much money my first year. Did you?
Maybe if we put ours together, we might have.
Well, that wasn't the first year, John, but pretty close.
If we put it together, we made more.
We did get there eventually, but like, yeah, it wasn't the first year.
Yeah, right. Don't get me wrong, right?
No, that's awesome. And in addition to that, this is one of the most requested. We have the best feedback when this person speaks. Like, people listen and they get inspired. And I know he's traveled around all over the country, like speaking. And man, I'm really excited for this one because it's going to be short and it's going to be awesome. We're really going to, and it's
the Department of Awesomeness. I mean,
it is.
Please.
So what we always say is like, what I always say is the shortest pencil is longer than the longest memory. So
better than the longest memory, John.
That's right. Did I not say that?
It's okay. I got your back, brother.
No. I said it right. The shortest pencil is longer than the longest memory. I said it right.
That's not how I learned it.
Well, I learned it different than you did.
We're not here. Darin, which way do you like it better? Do you like my version of that or what John, the messed up one?
Oh, gonna put me on the hot seat. Here we go. I see how it is. You know what? I'm gonna defer and flip a coin and say they're both awesome. They're both awesome. If that fits for you, good for you.
I normally don't have someone to like.
John's gonna fly out and hit the new golf course. I just moved my house. You know,
I'm all in.
The shotgun tournament. We were out there this morning at 7:30 having coffee. Millie and I were in the clubhouse announcing it, all these people, and then next thing I know, there's people on the tee box and they're waving at us, and we're sitting there having our morning coffee. And my insurance business doesn't suck. I can tell you that.
Exactly.
Certainly in symmetry. It's amazing.
One of the most underrated industries for sure. But so where I was going with that though, before Miranda just kind of interrupted me, and that's okay, is pull over. Or maybe even just save it for later, whatever you want to do. But this dude's just going to bring some heat. And so, a man with all your success, let's get right into it.
Sure.
A man with all your success, with training literally hundreds of agents, and you're popping out agents left and right that have had success. Here's a question that I like to allude to, Miranda, is, and Miranda, you probably have yours, but I always like to go with this when I'm talking to a top producer, because I think that they have like their stamp, their imprint. And here's what I mean when I say that. When I'm talking to a guy like Lappin, right? And I'm like, all right, buddy, hands down, no questions asked. There's one thing in your presentation that you do that you're like, if I didn't do this, I know for a fact that I wouldn't help out at least 50% of the people that I'm helping out. Lappin would be like, that's my role and purpose all day, every day, and twice on Sunday. And I'd ask her, and like every one of your top sales people have their imprint, have their stamp. And I go over to Carl and be like, Carl, what is yours? And he'd be like, John, hands down, no questions asked. It's the fact finding. It's that financial fire drill. If I don't go through that, I'm only going to help out 3 out of 10 as opposed to 8 or 9 out of 10. Right. And for me, mine's just digging into their why, finding out the root cause of how life is going to play out if, God forbid, they don't come home. And so Darin Stubbs, $700,000 first year in the business earner, come in here, just light this world on fire. What is your stamp? What's your imprint?
Yeah, I agree with everything you're saying there. And what's so great about how our coaching and mentorship works is you take a little bit of everybody and then you Mirandaize it, you Johnize it, you Darinize it. So for me, I Darinized you. I remember the first time I saw you speak, you talked about the why. And I'm like, whoa, Ziller. Okay, give me some more of that. And
hey, so Miranda, how cool is that? How cool is that to hear the dude that made more than I did say, listen, I got
it from you, man. I swear to God, I got it from you. I remember exactly what you said, John. You said,
pay you to like.
I swear to God,
now this is going to be Ziller's favorite podcast now because
it is.
And the truth is, I'm not brown nosing here. I'm totally serious. I remember watching you speak, and you said you have to find a why that makes you or the client cry. A why that makes you cry. Something so deeply rooted, emotional. A car's not enough. Having a better iPhone that's not enough. Hey man, I tell all my clients, and this is going to sound real rough. I teach all my agents, you have to kill off your client on every appointment. Kill the husband right there. Bam. Hey, Miranda, what happens if John gets killed coming home from Home Depot this Saturday? What does your life look like if he's dead this Saturday?
Ooh.
That's good.
I wait. And it's not that I'm trying to be mean. It's not that I'm trying to be rude. I mean, in our fast-paced, busy life, everyone thinks it's not going to happen to them. Well, what are the two certainties in life? Death and taxes. I mean, one of the things that COVID did was cause everyone, I honestly believe, to have a little moment of pause about your sense of mortality and morality. What is moral for me? Is it chasing the new car, new house? Or is it, oh my God, what if something happened? Because everybody knows someone who died from COVID. Everybody. Every day, the hospitals fill up with new people that weren't in the hospital yesterday. That means today, someone watching this podcast or listening to it knows someone that today or tomorrow is going to be in the hospital or dead. Well, what happens, Miranda, if your spouse gets killed? How are you going to pay the bills? What's going to happen? And it's not just killing off the husband. I'll look, because sometimes people say, well, we just need coverage on my husband because, I work, I have a little side hustle, or I'm a stay-at-home mom, and, John works and I raised the 4 boys and blah, blah, blah. Okay, well, that's great. All right, John. So Miranda gets killed coming home from the grocery store on Thursday evening. How are you going to work your 50-hour-a-week job and raise these 4 boys? How's that going to work? Tell me how just magically, mythically unzip yourself and now there's 2 of you. I mean, how's that work? You're going to need some help. You're going to need a nanny. You're going to need some assistance because the mortgage still has to be paid. I mean, you could call and say, oh, my wife got killed coming home from the grocery store Saturday. And what's the mortgage company going to say? Gosh, we're sorry about that, but we want our payment. And if you don't pay that payment, what happens? And then I stop and I ask people, and I just look them straight in the face. And, before we used to go sit at the kitchen table, and I loved going in home. I loved it. But Zoom has made us so much more efficient. I mean, I've talked to people in 4 time zones and it's 12:30 in Boise today. And I've already talked to people in 4 time zones and I'm in the same t-shirt and shorts and flip-flops. Oh, flip-flops I got on a carrier trip, by the way. That was kind of
Ooh, that
I stepped out.
Santa Mia.
Boom!
Yes,
ma'am. It's like $140 pair of flip-flops. Remember that, Miranda? We showed up, they said, pick some sunglasses, pick some flip-flops. And my Maui Jim sunglasses are right over there. I won't reach for them, but I put those on and had my coffee this morning, wearing my Punta Mina footwear. But you just have to get people to think about it for a minute. Slow down for a moment.
Exactly. So let's tap into that idea really quick too, right? And I truly do believe, like, it hands down, no questions asked, 100%, Darin, like, this is it. This is the key to it, right? people buy off of logic and emotion, and you can tie the logic into the emotion is what you're doing. Right. And if you can capture the logic and the emotional buyer, it's a win-win. It's a recipe for success. So when you're asking that very specific question, those types of questions, like, and we're, Miranda, like we teach on this, we're going several layers deep on that, right? And we're getting them to think of truly how their world would look without the other person. So when you toss a question out there like that, we take it further, right, Darin? And it's like, all right, so he didn't come home. How does that play out for you? Well, we'll be okay. All right, explain how you're going to be okay. Right. What is the new normal?
Show me the math.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
So
it's interesting we're having this conversation because in the last week I've had 2 death claims.
Yeah. So it's
and
like
1 terminal illness claim.
How do we get the kids to and from school?
Right.
How do we get them to their extracurricular activities?
How do you work that full-time job? How do you keep working that full-time job?
Yeah.
How do you dad taxi because mama's gone?
Current position. And then if you're not able to, what's the new position? Are you going to be able to afford the home that you're currently in? No, we have reserves. How long are those reserves going to last you? Right. And so like we go several layers deep with this. And it doesn't matter the circumstance or the situation that you're being brought at when you're speaking to a couple. Now so that's easy, right? You go to her, you go to him, and either way, because like for sure, if my wife weren't to come home, like it's different. I would have to hire a nanny. I would have to bring in support. I would need help getting the kids to and from school. I would, right? And so I definitely have a policy on my spouse, and my spouse I'm worth more dead than I am alive, y'all.
About that.
Right? But so like, all right, how about with a single person?
Sure.
With a single person, like what angle are you taking? And then after that, I'm going to go to maybe one, if we can go quick, I want to go to one more and then just do the time.
Well, single people have just as much feeling as anybody else. I just took an application right here. I actually had them over to the house because one of my new agents, and he said right there, last night, 26 years old, single, elite, super healthy, IUL. And we talked about, at some point in the future, he might have a family. He goes, well, yeah, at some point I want to get married and have a family. He goes, but I want to start planning for retirement now. And I gave them the speech about, okay, fellas, because right across the street from my house is a corn farm. No potatoes. The closest potato farm is like 2 hours that way. So don't say Idaho and potatoes, right? So I said, all right, we're going to pay taxes. Now I used an Altoid as an example. And I said, okay, the CPA says, hey, you can pay the weight of the seed now before you plant your corn, or you can wait to the harvest and pay on the way to the harvest, contrasting a 401k and an IRA to an IUL. And when I showed him, he just, oh my God, I want to be able to plan for retirement. And I want to be able to buy my life insurance at elite underwriting class at 26 years old. And I showed him, well, I'm 58 and I have elite underwriting class, but this is what it costs me for the same policy. And this is what it costs you. And he goes, oh my gosh, light came on. So for him, I just turned it into, instead of selling term insurance, he doesn't need term insurance. He wants tax-free retirement plan, $400 a month, 1 hour. And then we talked about accidents, and I pulled up the stats and said, because he's very math-minded. He's one of those 17% analytical types. Normally I don't go into that much math, but when you identify an analytical, they need a little more facts and figures. So you have to be able to be adaptive to the customer and client you're talking to. Yeah, but you still have to invoke.
What if you were talking to me? Because I'm like not like that. I'm like the opposite.
Well, we talked about men and stupidity and accidents, and I showed number one cause of death for men under 50 is accidents, and so we talked about accidental death with return of premium. And he goes, wait a second, you're telling me if I'm alive in 30 years, I get all of my money back? I said, yeah, every penny, tax-free, because you paid with after-tax dollars. He goes, well, give me 500,000 of that too. Literally, that's what he said. Give me 500,000 of that too. I'm like, okay, $88.82 or 42 cents a month at Mutual of Omaha.
Exactly. And you know what, there's a certain percentage of the population that does things based off of greed and not necessarily need either, right? But even kind of forecasting and projecting, like you could even focus on that 26-year-old and be like, hey, look, man, what happens? You're driving to work, you get into a bad car accident, you're out of work for 8 to 10 months, you're in rehab. Who pays your bills?
We talked about living benefits. We went right into that. And I explained critical illness, chronic. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, those policies have critical illness rider, chronic illness rider, all kinds of stuff. we could just sit there and load up the value where it's like, all right, hey, if I get diagnosed with, a certain type of cancer and I'm
covered.
to focus on my life and my livelihood, I don't want to have to worry about paying bills. We got you.
Got you covered,
Right?
brother.
There's so many different areas that you can focus on there. Man, we're going to have you back.
Oh, it's been my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I was
We are
honored.
going to have him back, Miranda, aren't we?
Yes. And you're going to drop in the comments your favorite part of this episode. One of my favorite things is reading the comments, John. How about you on our episodes where it's
I
like,
love it.
and it was so funny. Actually, I think I don't know if it was your team, Darin, but I was doing a call and they go, your podcast doesn't suck. And I was like, oh, good.
Isn't that the title or something?
It
Isn't
was
the
so
whole
funny.
point?
Yeah, don't suck at sales.
Yeah.
Don't
Look,
suck
I don't know if you
at
guys can see the posters on my wall behind me. I mean, since we're talking to other agents or potential agents, let me just take just 1 second about the industry, because you're right, John. It's very people don't understand what we really do. So if you want to be successful, you got to look at this list of things right here. You see all this? And I would add here, I put the word pain in there too, a little bit of pain, emotional pain, because you have to grow and become better. You know, the 97% who quit end up working for the 3% who never quit. Or you can become an entrepreneur. That's someone who's up late working 100 hours a week because they don't want to work 40 hours a week for somebody else. You know, this business can create wealth and truly through the prism of helping other people. Stop thinking about yourself. Yeah, I know we all need to make money. I got it. You know, I came here broken. That's a whole nother story. But if you just go help someone, and it's okay to put that client on the emotional hot seat for a lousy 20 minutes to save their ass. I delivered 2 checks this last couple of weeks. Doctor friend of mine, 55, died, pancreatic cancer, 55, June 15th. Another one died. Another one of my clients was an agent who worked for me part-time 5 years ago. And when they got started, I said, look, you need to get some insurance on your husband. I don't need to say their names because now they're getting involved with us again. Well, she just called me the other day and wants to recontract and get started again. Her husband was diagnosed with congestive heart failure, and it paid out the entire terminal illness rider. And he's still alive 3 years later. And we had a Zoom meeting last week. And John, he told me, he goes, you know what, Darin, you saved our ass. We would be homeless right now. I'd probably be dead because the stress and pressure of trying to pay the mortgage payment. And even still, I beat the odds. My heart's only working at 25%. But if it wasn't for you 5 years ago, just making us slow down for a lousy 20 minutes to listen to what you had to say, we'd be homeless and I'd probably be dead because I got all that money tax-free and it saved our ass.
Exactly.
So that's my message to you. If you're new, look, just go help someone. Stop thinking about the damn money. If you go help someone, and you get trained by these amazing people. By the way, we were all in Banff, Canada a week and a half ago together, crammed in the Suburban and going over to Lake Louise. I mean, life is a dream. It truly is a dream. But yes, you're going to have to do a bunch of this first. And that's okay, because every one of us have been through this over and over, and that's how we got to the success. So stay at it, stay coachable, keep watching.
Solid messages from Darin Stubbs. Leave in the comments section what your favorite part.
And if you don't want to suck at sales, keep on listening, right?
Absolutely.
That's right.
It's kind of like eating. It's kind of like taking a shower. Oh, Miranda, I took a shower yesterday. I stink today. Showers don't work. Well, I was hungry. I ate. Eating doesn't work. Well, duh. You have to take a shower again. You have to eat again. Well, feed your mind, feed your soul, feed your intellectual property with success tips and clues.
This is why we need him to come back. He keeps going, and I love it.
Well,
and we're trying to keep these podcasts short so we can entertain you guys. But we're gonna have to have you back on, Darin. Thank you so much, Miranda Martin. I love you, and I can't wait to see your glasses next week. Outside of that, you guys know what to do. Click, subscribe, do it all. Yes, we do. We love and appreciate each and every one of you. Bye, y'all. Thanks, Darin Stubbs. Bye, guys.
Yeah. Show me some. Show me some. Show me some.